Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. We have to do a revisit and an update on an ongoing story, one of the biggest and most shocking we have seen in the music industry this year. That would be the allegations and now also charges that have been filed against Sean P. Diddy Combs, music mogul, label head, hip-hop culture liaison who gave us greats such as Biggie. Months ago on this channel, we covered what has essentially proven to be like the first phase of his immense and controversial fall from grace, which involved not only very damning video of him being just incredibly violent in a hotel with his now ex Cassie, but also some very damning, lengthy, and detailed allegations that were made against him in a lawsuit filed by a former producer and music collaborator. The things this lawsuit alleges this individual had to endure just to sort of be a part of Diddy's creative process here, it sounds like hell on earth. Now, since these things have come to light, Diddy has made a public statement or two, but mostly for a while had been lying low. That is until he eventually got arrested and slammed with federal charges. What I've read of these charges and allegations posted on justice.gov look completely insane. You have arson, bribery, racketeering, abuse, and bribery as well, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg. I will stop and say that yes, the man deserves his day in court, and there have been people pushing back on whether or not the allegations made in these charges are in fact true. I want to remind people here, because in some of the defenses that I've been seeing made for Diddy in the wake of these charges from the likes of Funk Flex, as well as even Diddy's mom.
120 people sexually assaulted by Diddy. Stop. Just say you're broke and you need money.
A lot of the excuses for Diddy's behavior and the complete writing off of the allegations against him usually involves a point where, everybody has to say, well, listen, we remember the Cassie thing and that wasn't good and we all feel really bad about that. You know, obviously when Cassie was saying, hey, Diddy is doing bad stuff to me, she was, telling the truth. We all know that now.
That shouldn't happen to any woman. But assaulting 120 people sounds stupid.
But what I feel like I need to remind everybody of is that Cassie's allegations against Diddy didn't just merely start and stop at physical abuse, because in her lawsuit against him, she also described having to do sex acts against her will, which allegedly involved other prostitutes and sex workers and, are part of this like whole freak-off narrative party thing that I will get into soon. But yes, before these freak-offs became like a hot topic in relation to Diddy, they were pretty much described in practice already in the lawsuit Cassie filed against him. The one that Diddy settled most likely because allowing it to go to court would have revealed some damning evidence. And going further into the lawsuit Cassie filed against him, it was alleged that he blew up the car of a romantic rival. I bring all this up to say I feel like it's personally really insulting and offensive to treat people who are just like connecting the dots, seeing the patterns of behavior like they're dumb and they're being unfair and they're stupid, for coming to the conclusion that, well, maybe since Diddy physically abused this person, the lawsuit she filed against him, the other allegations made in it might possibly have credibility too, that maybe other people describing very similar experiences in relation to Diddy that line up with things that were described in this lawsuit or other lawsuits filed against him, those might also possibly have credibility. Ultimately, in a court of law, Diddy is innocent until proven guilty, of course, but like, don't talk to and treat people like they're stupid, especially after having seen what we've all all seen in that Cassie tape. Which brings me to more developments that have come out in the wake of these federal charges. Things like the 120 new accusers that are all filing lawsuits against Diddy now, some of whom claim that the abuse they sustained at the hands of Diddy or in relation to Diddy in some way, shape, or form was actually done so at a point where they were minors, underage. Now, Diddy's legal defense has pretty much written these accusers off, as they have also written off residual evidence of these freak-off events, which came in the form of, I guess, like 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant being confiscated from Diddy's house. One of the people representing Diddy legally, honest to God, came out and said, essentially, hey, my man likes to buy in bulk. You know, people buy all sorts of crazy amounts of things at Costco.
1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. You know, I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know.
Diddy is just a very eager and impassioned card-carrying BJ's member. He knows the more you spend, the more you save. The thing I said I would get to that kind of ties all of these allegations together are these parties that have been described as freak-offs. Basically like these multi-person sexual escapades, some or many of which have been filmed and documented. The justice.gov post that describes a lot of these actions also implies that many of the invitees to these freak-offs were also involved in the illegal actions being described taking place there. However, as of this moment, Diddy seems to be the only person who's been charged in relation to these parties, these gatherings. So whether or not charges are coming down the pipe for any of these individuals or said individuals involved at these parties, these events, are they taking part in actually snitching on Diddy here in this federal effort to take him down? As of this point right now, there's really no telling, which is why I foresee myself making another video about this topic down the road in the future. But I didn't really want to go any further without saying something else about it, because this is just an insane developing story that there are so many tentacles to at this point. I feel like any regular artist would have simply been taken down by the lawsuit I talked about earlier this year and the Cassie video leaking. But no, in actuality, what seems to be going on with Diddy is those things were just like the surface level signs of a much deeper and scarier rot under the floorboards. I will say and touch down on a few more things quickly to round out this video. One, I'm kind of reminded of the recent Kendrick Lamar song about letting the party die, essentially, talking about how many completely immoral, materialistic, and opportunistic figures there are in hip-hop and the music industry broadly, who are essentially using their money and their platform and their influence to take advantage of others. Many people took what Kendrick was saying in that song and tried to directly connect it to Drake, when in fact I feel like what he was actually trying to do on that track is talk about a much broader issue that is obviously being put on display here by a lot of these allegations against Diddy. Number two, I'll say I'm a little disappointed by the discourse that has been surrounding a lot of these accusations against Diddy, because while there does seem to be a lot of belief in what is being said about his actions, about his behaviors, simultaneously it seems like a lot of the offense or infatuation with these allegations sits mostly around how weird and freaky a lot of the behaviors being described are. Like, oh, it's sex with multiple people, and oh, it's people having sex with the same gender of person, and so on and so forth. I mean, since some of these allegations have kind of taken a turn where they now involve people who were underage, I am recently catching more of an air of seriousness around a lot of the discussion with the Diddy allegations. But Up until this point, a lot of the discourse around these freak-off parties and what happened to them involved people mostly speculating like, oh, what rappers is Diddy fucking? Is it Meek Mill? Like, if he is, who fucking cares? More importantly, is he drugging and coercing people? It's just weird that people find that less controversial than potentially consensual sex between two men. With all that being said, though, I'm going to leave this here because this is to the extent that I have a stomach for diving into a lot of what has come out around these Diddy allegations. But like I said, with Diddy currently behind bars and awaiting trial, for sure there is going to be more to say at some point down the road as the snowball with this continues to roll forward and get bigger. Let me know your thoughts on all of this down in the comments below. I'm sure you will. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Diddy, allegations, forever.